Hey, what's up, coin hunters? It's me, your host, Bloc Boi, and tonight I'm super excited because we have an extra special episode where I am hosting the blockchain gaming podcast that IT Guy produces. So this will be the first video version of his podcast, and I'm super stoked to have this opportunity. So without further ado, let's get right into the interview.
Hello, everyone. My name is Trent, but most of you know me as IT Guy, and welcome back to the Blockchain Gaming Podcast. In this episode, I'm debuting the video format of the podcast, which will be uploaded to my YouTube channel, which is brand new. I'm excited to be doing this podcast today with none other than the number one coin hunt world player in the world, Bloc Boi. How's it going, man?
It's going good. Thanks for having me.
Good. I mean, as of right now, this will be live on your Twitch. But other people, for those of you interested, you can hit the YouTube afterwards if you miss it. So yeah, so let's just run through some of the accomplishments, let's say, you've done through this game. It's a pretty big list here, but to be frank, you're the number one player on the leaderboards. Everybody can see that. Everybody knows that.
Number one global. I think right now I might be fifth global, but yeah, the monthly changes. But yeah, number one all time. So that's
where
cool.
It matters. Exactly.
My most proud accomplishment, if you will.
Yeah. You were the first person to open a purple vault as well, which if people haven't seen that video, it's epic. And I'm sure we'll get into that. But yeah, the purple vault as well.
Thank you.
And obviously a very popular streamer. That just speaks for itself. And recently, the first person to open the red vault, the boosted red vault this month in LA.
I was the first one to open the boosted red vault during the USA event.
Right.
It was at the Disney Concert Hall, and we did a mini gathering with some LA hunters there, which was really cool. I was the first one to just open the most recently completed yellow vault in LA, which is at the Staples Center. Yeah. So that was the one that we just did on Tuesday, which was really cool. Had another little small gathering of LA hunters. 5 of us there that time, hoping to summon a fire obelisk or a monolith rather. But no such luck. So we'll give it another shot here next week.
Awesome. Yeah. I'm trying to do the same thing over here. So that brings us to the next point here. It's where are you from and where do you hunt? I know this personally, but why don't you just run it down for the viewers and listeners?
For anybody who's not familiar, I am from Los Angeles. I hunt all over in all of the fruitful grounds that Los Angeles has to offer. So primarily that's Hollywood, Los Feliz, the Mid-Wilshire area of LA, the Santa Monica Boulevard strip that kind of heads out towards Santa Monica, but runs into Beverly Hills first. So those are some of my primary hunting areas. So pretty much just all of these areas of Los Angeles that have been built up by all the local hunters.
Right on. And so do you set a particular amount of time you go out to hunt each day? And how much time is that?
So that's a good question. People ask me that a ton, right? Because obviously you have to play a lot to be number one, right? And anybody who makes a run at the global leaderboards usually has a new perspective of what that requires by the time that they're done with their endeavor. So it's pretty obvious, right? That to compete, you have to play a ton, but I don't actually have a set amount of time that I play in any given day. My goal is I want to try to play every day, right? To some degree. Now that might not mean that I have a dedicated hunt where I'm going to spend a few hours with the intention of hitting one of my familiar routes or loops and getting everything that's available. So like that's a plan day. And those days like that are usually 4 hours or more. So if I'm doing like a really dedicated hunt where, it's planned out and I'm like, hey, I'm going to go here, then here, then here. I know about how long it takes based on how much time I have. So if I only have an hour, I mean, I can just hit Sunset in Hollywood, which is like the closest kind of like densest small loop that's quick and easy to get. And the more time I have, the further out I can extend that because, Hollywood and Sunset go further than just in Hollywood. Sunset Boulevard goes all the way downtown LA. So I sometimes extend my hunt all the way into Los Angeles proper, like downtown area, which is really cool because it's growing all the time. But so anyhow, it's really like a non-answer to the question. Anywhere from, just briefly while I'm going from A to B, if I have a busy day outside of the coin hunt world, which I often do. But if I have a lot of flexibility. So towards the end of the month, I would literally change my agenda to allow for me to go ham on those last few days of the month.
I think we can all attest to that. Yeah.
Yeah. I might be like 8 hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like on the final day, it's like go time. I'll get up early and just be like grind time all the way until close of business on the last day. Right. So midnight UTC. And so anyhow, yeah.
Yeah. And I think we chatted about this a little bit, but do you have a particular favorite time you like to hunt? Because I know we chatted a little bit and we like to go early morning and then.
So my favorite time is all kind of based around like LA's traffic though also. So, right. Early morning and late evening are the absolute best times because that's when you have the least competition for traffic. And for a long time during the pandemic, when like there was nothing going on, the streets of LA it was a far cry from what you see now or what people think of as typical LA traffic. So it was great, but now that things have kind of resumed somewhat to normal, the traffic has as well, which is a little bit of a bummer. And for a player like me, where the metro LA area is very massive, right? So some people don't understand how much geographic area Los Angeles takes up. So you couldn't so I have to use my car to get from, downtown to Los Feliz to Santa Monica, like this morning, spoiler alert, my next immersive hunt where I did a handheld with the gimbal, I went and did the Santa Monica Pier, dropped a little bit of resin in their yellow vault or their crane rather. It's not a yellow vault yet, but so anyhow, Santa Monica is a full, it's a 40-minute drive. So, you know what I mean? If I'm trying to squeeze a lot of hunts in one day and I'm doing it at like changeover time, not the best time, right? So going right around 5 p.m. Pacific time is like the worst time to hunt in terms of traffic, but it's changeover. So sometimes you'll find yourself like, oh, I only have 2 hours. So maybe I'll go this close loop and I'll do it at 4 and then it will reset and I'll hit it and double up at 5, something like that. But there's just so many different strategies that you can do. And I use different ones all the time.
Yeah. Same. So how did you actually get into coin hunt world and how did you find this game?
Yeah, good question.
This is a good one.
Yeah. So it's one of my favorite questions, right? Because everybody found our way here somehow, and everybody's got a different story and everybody had a different level of familiarity with crypto before they started, right? Some people may have already been investors who have made that decision to part ways with their fiat dollars for this digital currency, right? Other people might have gotten their very first Satoshi through this game, right? Yep. So anyhow, for me, I was already into crypto. And because of that fact, a very person who's near and dear to my heart knew about, one, I like crypto, and two, that I'm super into games. I love games. And so Princess Hyena was like, I think I heard of a game that's like right in your wheelhouse. And she told me about it and I was like, that sounds awesome. So I tried to like get right in, but I was iOS. So when I had found out about it, it was the very beginning, right? This brand new game. Oh, it's only available for Android. Oh, you're iOS. Here's our waiting list. So we signed up to be like on some waiting list or something like that, and then waited until it was released on iOS. And then she reached out to me again when she got like the notification, like, hey, it's ready now for iOS, and told me how to get it. And then after that, it was like, I didn't immediately fall in love with the game the way that I love it now, but it was cool. The concept was cool. It was very bare bones if you played in the beginning, but I quickly became very fond of the game.
Right on. And I think the attraction to the game really ramps up once you've, built 1 to 2 or 3 user vaults of your own already. And, you've put down your HQ. I think that's when it really starts to take off after, 30,000 resin or something like that. So it's a little bit of a grind at the beginning there, but totally worth it. Right.
Absolutely. It's weird because in the beginning it was like there wasn't as much going on, so it was just kind of simple. There's way less vaults. You just knew where they were. You went and grabbed them. Maybe you found some new ones while you're out and about. You'd open the game up when you were traveling around because that's how it works.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like this, at least for me. It wasn't like it is now, where it's like this is my guide. And you know what I mean? It's like leading you to where you're going, and you have it open at all times. Like somebody mentioned in the Discord how it was funny that they went somewhere and didn't hunt, and they were like, it was like sacrilegious to not have my phone open because if you travel from here to here, you're like, what did I miss? So
that's actually a great point, because I've noticed myself using it as a GPS. Like I don't open Google Maps anymore. I just open Coin Hunter World and see where the streets are.
You're like, hey, I don't need it to tell me turn by turn. I just need a map.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Funny.
All right. Why don't we get into one of the biggest topics that's been buzzing around?
Okay.
Obviously we have version 1 out, which came with, some UI tweaks.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of a colorful. I don't know really what was added, but
it wasn't a lot done.
No.
But I think the subtle changes that were done were cool, right? So the first thing I think that you notice is that when you go to your inventory and hit your QBs tab, the icon and the QB themselves is a little bit bigger, right? So I thought that was cool. And then I think they should do that to all the tiles, all the icons that you can, right? Because now that they've made that bigger, other inventory pages are like, oh, that should be bigger. Yeah. And then when you go to what was the other thing? The backdrop,
leaderboards.
The backdrop and the leaderboard. Yeah, it was like a little bit more detail in the graphics in the little stage that the QB stands on and the leaderboard. I noticed that change. And then, just 1.0. So I guess that marks the first year, maybe, because we hit, 1 year deep. Now they're at 1.0. So then maybe all of this year's updates are 1 point something.
Yep.
Speculation.
I like that theory. Yep.
Yeah.
And obviously this update, it's the first year anniversary. It came with the elemental. Well, the elemental invasion came a little bit after. We're now halfway through. Let's just
halfway through the invasion.
Yeah. How's it been going for you so far?
It's going. It's so. I mean, for one, there's like just absolute frenzied speculation on all these sorts of different mechanics, and like almost immediately. And I'm thinking, like, I've played the game. I mean, when Elemental Invasion started, I was ready at a vault at 5 p.m. and go. Right. Until the whole entirety of what I would normally hunt in a day was gone. Right. So I'm talking into the wee hours of the night.
Yep.
And the next morning, people were like, well, this is how it works. And I'm thinking,
how?
You have no idea. So I found myself kind of like getting sucked into it a little bit and being like, what are they saying? And I'm just like, just go hunt. Right. So, so anyhow, how's the hunt been going? I've been hunting a lot. And like all epic resources, the red crystals are very hard to come by. They're not dropping very fast, right? So the idea is like, well, geez, you can kind of project if after a few days of hunting, I think that's enough data to look at your crystal count and be like, okay, X amount of vaults, X amount of crystals. How soon might I get this if I hunt at the same pace, right? Obviously, the RNG factor can go in your favor or skew low and make it take even longer. But either way, it's like a baseline. You can make a guesstimate. So my guesstimate was like, wow, based on how quickly I'm getting red crystals, I'm not even going to have enough to play until the very end.
Right.
And that's if I hunt as much as I've already been hunting, which is like, so
a lot. Like we crashed the servers.
Yeah. The first day, I mean, I was like not even 40 minutes in, right? I started right at 5, but the other thing too about that is other people have like shared what they have, and I'm just like, man, what's going on? Like, so I don't have a ton of hearts. I've printed the all 3 of the others, right? So the air, the water, and the earth, right? The common was super easy to get. The 2 rares weren't that hard to get. But I don't even have the blueprint yet, which is like, people were like, I got it the first day, said they had it. I've opened. I mean, what I could do is like, look at the amount of crypto I've gained since Monday and like divide by 10 cents ish, right? Like get an average price of what it's been between now and then, and you can extrapolate how many vaults, because I don't keep track. I've not, you know what I mean? Like I did that. I did that like once and was like, okay, not doing that again. So I applaud the people who keep crazy detailed notes of their stats.
Yeah.
I want the game to do that. I don't want to have to keep my own stats, but I could figure out approximately how many vaults I've opened, but it's a ton, like a ton. And people that I know that haven't opened, I mean, if they opened as many vaults as me, they'd be where I am in the leaderboard. Right. So that's part of how I'm like, well, how do they have it so early? If they're way down, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's random. So I'm not worried about that, because if it takes to the very end to get enough resources to print it, you don't technically need the blueprint right away, but it feels good to have it.
Yes, yeah, for sure. And there are some on the auction house right now. I think one's going for a red key, another one's going for about 700 blues. So that these aren't cheap, and it goes to show
they're
that
epic.
Yeah, and it goes to show that they're rare, right? Or epic.
Yeah, epic rarity.
Extremely epic.
Right. Yeah. The rarity is there.
I personally don't have it yet either, and I say yet because we're halfway.
You're gonna get it.
Yeah, for sure. And we're halfway through, right?
Yeah,
I think my overall strategy was, I'm just gonna play the game how I play it.
For sure.
Hit the vaults. That's how you get the blueprint, right?
Yeah.
And I figure I'm in the top 1%. I hope.
Yeah.
And so
you can probably get the blueprint at least, right? You might have to get some of the materials later from the resource or from the auction house, right? So you're already seeing some of the resources for these for sale. And I was actually, so it's interesting. This might be the first time that we see the first to print might have obtained some of the resources that they used to print from the auction house.
Yeah,
that would be a first.
Yeah, that would be very interesting. And I think that's probably the direction that they wanted or they envisioned when they came out with the auction house, right?
I mean, so there's so many things that the auction house is good for that, you wonder how many things did they specifically entertain and how many of them are just evolutions that, you know what I mean, you might not have even anticipated. Because yes, obviously part of the auction house was like for them to recapture some keys, right? Give people a way to transfer goods. You know what I mean? Because there's always going to be people who couldn't hunt enough, or people who, I was on vacation during that event, so I didn't hunt, but I want that thing. And there's going to be people that have more than they need. So, there was a lot of like intentional design placed in the auction house, but I think some of these things are maybe just like second order effects. I don't think that they were like, hey, when we're doing this first to print thing, let's give people an opportunity to get it without hunting. I don't think that was a design, but it is a byproduct.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Yeah,
absolutely. So with this elemental invasion came a new mechanic. So for the people who don't know, I don't know why you wouldn't know this, but there's a new mechanic going on in the elemental invasion where in order to actually get all the resources needed to print the QB.
Is this speculative?
this is real. This is real. After solving, a vault, I'll just put it there. You have the chance of spawning a monolith.
Right.
And so you basically go out of your way. It's kind of like in the buddy quest radius. You go out of your way to go
out of your way is a good description.
Yeah. To go collect it. I think they wanted to get you to explore, right?
Do more exploring. Sure. The game, the purpose of the game is to get out and explore, right? That is one core function, maybe not the purpose of the game. One of the core functions of the game is the, go out and explore your neighborhood element. And I love that. And buddy quests have actually done the same thing. Once in a while, want to land on a vault. You're like, I didn't even know that was a vault there. Right. So that's cool. And to that same degree, this thing works in a similar fashion, but here, so you want to know one of my observations.
I'd love to hear it.
Every single time I've gotten one, it's behind me.
Yeah.
Right. It's never
the wrong direction.
It's never like, oh, hey, that vault coming up is now boosted or whatever. It's now a monolith. It's like, hey, 14 vaults ago, there's something over there. Yeah. So every time I'm like, cruising along and one happens, it's just delaying my progress to actually get more crypto on my hunt. Exactly. So it's almost a mechanism where like, obviously the auction house has a 10% fee attached. siphon some keys back to the house that way.
Yeah.
Maybe this mechanic, although it's a cool feature and it's required to get this item that's essential to crafting a new QB, maybe this mechanic also slows you down just a little bit.
It definitely does.
Right.
And there's lots of little things to this mechanic, and there's tons of people think that
there's novels
sort of
already
voodoo.
written in the Discord. Completely speculative.
Voodoo. Yeah. But I don't know about all that. But what we do know about these things is that after you spawn one, they last for an hour, and everybody on the map can see it. So this essentially, makes hunting in groups a lot better because the chances of spawning it are better, and everybody can see it.
Exactly.
So that's obviously a brand new mechanic that we've never seen before. Other items on the map.
On that topic, though, so like you mentioned how it's advantageous to hunt in groups because of this mechanic, and I completely agree. But just to add to that, one of the reasons why it's critical is because although you did mention when it spawns, everybody can see it, not everybody gets the indicator that tells you where it's coming from. So only the person who spawns it gets a notification saying that it exists. And again, since it's usually behind you, you got to turn around and find it. So and anybody else who's hunting, facing in the direction away from this monolith and not traveling in that direction is very unlikely to come across it. Right.
I've never ran across a random monolith.
I ran across one today on Santa Monica. Yep. Nice. It was cool. Nice. It felt like it felt like finding a $5 bill in your pants after you wash them. I was like, oh, what have I got?
Right on. That's funny. Yeah. And it also makes you collaborate, right? With people around you. I've
now there's a true reason other than doing a buddy quest and coordinating, hey, you're at yours, I'm at mine. The mutual hunt concept has never been something that there was any advantage to in the game until right now. So I love that. I actually thought it was going to be something completely different, which we might talk about in a minute, but this is still cool.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it opens up an opportunity for, other events. This mechanic's going to be probably used for the rest of the game. I think that's safe to say that, after
it'll do different things at different times.
For sure.
Right.
And so getting back to the monoliths, right?
Yeah.
You can only spawn one of these at a time. So not only does, it spawn behind you, but you kind of got to stop hunting for an hour because you can only spawn one of these at a time and they last an hour, right?
Yeah. I mean, yes and no, right? Depending on how much stuff you have to hunt and how long you want your hunt to be, you may or may not wait, right?
Right. Yeah.
But at the very least, it does alter a couple things. For example, if your intention is to spawn a higher tier monolith, which you can only do from what I understand, from a green or higher vault, right? Then you might only hit green vaults until you spawn what you were wanting to spawn. And then for that hour where you can't do anything, then you go back to hitting blue.
Okay.
And then when the hour's up, you go switch to right. So one, you have to take note of when that hour begins, right? Yeah. So that you can then hit green vaults again. So that's a pro hunter strategy. That one's free, guys. Pro hunter strategy on how, if that's the mechanic, to get as many of the higher tier ones as possible, because you're not accidentally activating a monolith on a regular vault, which is going to be like an air or, a more common one. It might be rare, but the epic, from my understanding, has to come from green or higher.
I believe that has been confirmed.
Right. And so here's a rural hunter, pro hunter tip. All right. I know that some people hunt alone, and I'm sorry, this is not going to apply to you, but anybody who has somebody else to hunt with, take them with you and use that strategy. But everybody does it, right? So if you got 3 people, you're all going to green vaults, because if you're in a rural, you might only have 2 or 3. So each of you goes to the first one, you all hit it. If nothing spawns, go to the next one. Same thing. Nothing spawns, go to the next one. Hey, and if it doesn't spawn, maybe you don't get one that day. But then at least you have all 3 of you hitting all 3 of the vaults that could potentially spawn it. So you're giving yourself the highest odds possible to get that. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's been interesting. I'm kind of disappointed that 5 of us got together and all hit that yellow vault, and it was like, hey, what happened?
Nothing.
Absolutely.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, because throughout this elemental invasion, we've been receiving in-game messages, right? And
Yeah.
these in-game
growing
messages,
stronger. What is?
the elemental invasion is growing stronger now. They're just, as there is with everything that happens in the game, there's a ton of speculation on what this means, right? So this could mean, that
anything.
Right, these vaults are giving better chance, or monoliths or have a better chance of spawning, or even a player in the Discord had mentioned that maybe this is actually getting harder. That's what this means.
But growing stronger, more resistance to your whatever your agenda is. I mean, it could be anything, right? And it doesn't even mean, I mean, like, so I know that they've already alluded to the fact that it did indicate something, but it could have even just been nothing was attached to it, right? They could have programmed it to be like, hey, after 2 days, you say this.
Right.
And then after, you know what I mean? It's just something for the sake of being in the game. Like, hey, the events, you know what I mean? Like,
it did seem like we were getting one a day. It did seem like that. Right.
Right. So, yeah, I don't know. I want to know, like, I know that they were like, hey, there's this thing and you guys it's a new mechanic. You guys kind of got to figure it out. And that in part was why so many people have such wild, attempts at solving it so quickly. But maybe they just could do us a solid and like sell us a little bit more. Like, come on, guys, give us a little bit to go by.
That'll probably be happening in the future. Soon. But in the past, they've done this a lot, right? Especially touching back on the auction house when that first came out, it was like, you got to figure this out. There's no tutorial to this. There's no tutorial to anything, and it's trial and error, basically, right?
Yeah. So there's a lot of mixed opinions about that very concept, right? There is like, it's you can't please everybody, right? So there's some games that kind of handhold you a little bit and they walk you through it, or games that are really complicated that they at least show you the basics so that you have the mechanics and you can navigate correctly. I mean, like, let's think about some of the console controllers, and there's 12 buttons. Like, you got to at least have an understanding. This like it's touch screen. The user interface is pretty intuitive. You touch stuff that's on your map. It's not like, it doesn't take a lot to figure it out. Now, I do agree, though, some of it remains kind of like, nondescript, like making your HQ. Like, I hate the fact that getting a referral is tied to an action in the game that is not intuitive.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people I've referred that just didn't make their HQ within whatever the time frame is where they have to do it in order for that to be a linked referral. Yeah. And I try not to actually think about the referral system anymore, because it's like I had such grandiose plans for, this just massive recruitment, and like, trust me, man, if iOS was on the board, I'd have a ton, but the fact that it's not makes it weird. So anyways, I didn't want to devolve into that direction about referrals, but the mechanics of the game and the speculation and stuff like that, it's kind of the developer's fault.
For sure.
So they could give us more to go by, but I also like that they keep it. That was my ultimate point, was like, I kind of like that they do it that way, because at the end of the day, this is a game that gives people money. Right. So
I saw a hilarious meme. I think it was by Kevo Strings, and it said something like, this is the only game where you open up a vault and all you get is nothing but free money. Ugh.
Oh yeah. It was something like, the only game where you can be upset that when you open a vault, all you got was free money. You're like, no resources.
Yeah.
Where's my resin? So it's
brilliant.
And then there's I love how anytime there's a point of conflict in any conversation, some people, their automatic move is to deflect to one far end or the other. So some people are like, I've seen this is like a camp. There's like a little miniature camp within Hunt World where anytime they bring up something and people are like, yeah, but that's not something that they care to do, they're like, yeah, and I hate how they act like, oh, you get free money, so you can't complain. And I'm like, whoever said that? The developers are super open, but they're also super honest. And part of that is being honest about the fact that if your business plan is like, hey, we're going to stuff this piñata full of candy, and then we're going to gut it, and it's just going to trickle candy out, and all you guys love candy, and you want to rip it wide open and take all the candy at once. But if we do that, the game is over.
No more pinata.
So, right. So like let it trickle. And what if they got to sew up the wound that it's flowing from halfway? Let them do it to keep the thing alive.
What a great analogy there.
Right. You know what I mean? Because it's like, yo, you just got to like, they will slow the game down. The animations are slow intentionally. Mm-hmm. There are mechanics that they're going to build into the game, like the auction house that takes some of the money back. Like people are going to quickly realize how amazingly awesome we had it in beta. Because if there's 1 million people playing this game, they can't. You know, I mean, obviously with that scaling comes sponsorships and advertising and a larger budget, but I just don't, you know, I mean, if they can, they're going to make the rewards more, but I feel like the game will always, even if the rewards are more, the game is always going to have things built in that are designed to slow down the user from getting that free crypto.
There was an interesting post kind of about that from the developers saying that you know, resin in the future, you know, we have it lucky now building user vaults. So we have a discounted user vault right now at 10,000.
Right.
Right.
So the price could change. The number of slots could change. The cost to unlock a slot could change. Anything in this game could change. And you might look back and be like, wow, you know, I did get a lot of really cool things by Burning being an early adopter. We got 5,000 free resin just for making an HQ. So that's like half your uphold unlock fee if you look at it that way. And like even when they were like, hey guys, here's the thing to use this wallet and it's 10K, like people freaked out about that. 10K resin, like 10K of that other thing that just it's weird, man. Like I like the game enough to where it would take something really messed up for me to be like, whoa, what happened to the game? You know what I mean? These little things that are strategic changes or additional features within the game that just kind of change the whole dynamic, to me are so cool to have to
I welcome them,
figure it out. Yeah, exactly. To absolutely work your way through it. I welcome them as well. And it's to me it's fun to adapt to all of the different things because they do change stuff in the game pretty frequently.
And I love just the theories that come out of everybody in this community. Like I swear, like these guys could be doing some other investigative work for a living, honestly.
Hey man. And then on the other hand, some people have a lot of analytical pitfalls and you're like, how did you draw that conclusion, sir? Stay away from investigatory practices.
Exactly. All right, I think we've talked a little bit about the mechanics. Let's just move on to the actual QBs that, you know, have been introduced. So there's been 4 new ones. I don't know if we can even talk about the fire one. We will, but at least for the first 3, the air, the water, and the earth one, which one is your favorite? Like aesthetically, which one's looks the best to you?
I think aesthetically, there's different things I like about different ones.
Now, are the QBs going to be listed above here? Are they above us right now?
So they probably can be.
Oh well,
maybe right up here, somewhere like there. Yeah. So let's go in order then, right? So air, I think air is one of the coolest looking. I love that he's like a whirling dervish. I love that he's got a lightning bolt. That was the first one I got too, and I printed it. I was like, this is so cool. And then the second one I got was the Earth, which was pretty cool too. And the thing that I like most about the Earth one is that him? The thing I like the most about the Earth is that I think they did some really a little bit more, like, how do we phrase it? A little bit more intricate graphic design of the dude himself. So he has like some neat kind of 3-dimensionalness, like where the top layer his head's at and like the foliage or whatever. So I like that about him. And then honestly, I hate to say this, and Basakun is probably going to be upset because he loves all things water, but I'm not a huge fan of the water one. So the water one, full disclosure, was the third one I got. The third one I got, and the only one that I have not set as an active QB at any point. So I kind of showed the other 2 off because I was like, I'm high up enough, you know, in the leaderboard. Sometimes it's cool to have somebody at the top so that people don't have to scroll very far to find some of these new QBs. Now there's more, but like I got it early. You know, I wasn't the first one, but I think I was one of the first ones that was like high enough to where you didn't have to scroll a ton to find it. So I was putting them as I was getting them, I would activate them. And then I got the water one and I'm looking at it and I'm like,
nah.
Exactly.
Right to the auction house for you. Yeah.
Totally.
I think we're on the same page there.
Yeah.
I'm the air one is definitely dope. I really like that one. That's
my favorite
really
so
cool.
far.
The earth one, I especially like the animation where he's like,
the trees,
brings up the trees. That's really cool too.
Right.
The water one, it's still all right, but
it's cool.
They drop 4 amazing QBs, but 3 are just super cool. We haven't seen the fire one though.
Right.
That's what's the most interesting, right? And we're halfway through this event, and we have yet to see the epic
most. But
is this the most rare QB, or not the most rare, the most challenging to get?
No. So when the Lunar New Year event was going on, and the epic was the fire dragon, which required both these fire and dragon scales. So you get fire and you get your dragon scales. The dragon scales was the hard item from that. And I remember it taking a long time to get. Now, this is the longest event that we've seen.
Right.
So I bet that the drop rate was adjusted a little bit to account for that. So it would make it last a little bit longer into the event for that thing to be completed. But it's not that far off from other epic resources, and they're extremely rare drop rates.
Exactly. And I was talking to you a little bit about this before the show, but just now, the developers have released that the number one player or the number one person with the most fire crystals, or
going right into the game right now,
fire shards, is 2,300 fire crystals. So I don't know about you, but that's a lot more than what I have. But that's still not even enough to print it, right?
It's not enough to print it. So ironically, that's barely over 75%.
Yeah.
Right. And we're 4 days into the elemental invasion. So it's going to take them at least another full day, right? Because like 4 days worth of hunting got them about 3/4 of the way. So it takes over a day to do 1/4 of, if the drop rate is the same or whatever. So I got to step it up then, because I'm not super far behind that, but I don't have 2,300. So that's not me.
Yep.
Not it.
And you're obviously gunning to be the first to print, right? You want that.
I mean, I'm always gunning to be first to print, and I've never been first to print. So it's like, I say it because it's cool. To be first to print, you have to be really lucky in terms of when you get the blueprint, and you have to have at least favorable RNG, drop rates, because sometimes you just get crap drop rates. And sometimes you're on fire. So if you're the person that's on fire and you also got the blueprint and you're also hunting a lot, you know what I mean? So like, I don't think that right now my drop rate's been great. Just like the seat of my pants meter is not impressed.
Yeah.
Cause I've opened, so right now I'm number 1 in the US and number 4 global, right? And I'm guessing, and I may or may not be correct, but I'm guessing that the 3 people above me probably had sat and stacked some stuff so that they could get a jump on the leaderboard this month, right? And I didn't have that. So me on the leaderboard, this is me hunting, and this is me getting and printing the 3 blueprints that I got so far in the resources that I have. So, you know what I mean? So what this tells me, the whole point of this is that my assessment is that in terms of vaults opened, I'm one of the top at least 10, because some of these people could be that high, right? And open less vaults or open more vaults or haven't printed, right? There's some variables in there that you have to consider. But at the end of the day, I got a ballpark for where I'm at.
Right.
And if I've opened, X amount of vaults and somebody that's opened way less has more shards, you can see who has the good RNG and who doesn't.
Exactly.
So to answer your question, yes, I'm gunning to be first to print. I never expect to, because it's a crapshoot. It's absolutely crapshoot.
Yep, absolutely. Well, then let's jump to another thing that you're gunning for here.
Okay.
And that is coming out for sure very soon, the legendary.
Yes, the leg, as I like to call it.
That's the short form.
Short form, right? Just capital LEG, man. Yeah, let's talk about the legendary. I'm so excited, man. I mean, I've been talking since I found out about it. I was like, of course I want to try for it, right? Like anything in this game, nothing's guaranteed. You know, Illusion Weaver once asked me, like, hey, do you think that how do you feel? Because I was like battling, you know, and they have the back end, so they see all what's going on.
Yeah.
Right. But you see this battle unfolding and it's getting towards the end of the month. And he's like, hey, do you think that you have first place on lock? And I was like, never.
Yeah.
Never do I feel like I have anything on lock. So that's how I approach everything. So as far as the legendary is concerned, yes, like many things in this game, I'm gunning for it. And like many things in this game, as a very avid and accomplished player, I'm in the running.
Yep.
I'm not just gunning for it. It's not a pipe dream. It's not a, hey, it would be cool if I could do this. It's like, I am coming to crush people.
Yeah.
That, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care. I just want it. You know what I mean? And I'm doing everything I can to get it. So it's a little bit different, you know? Yes, I'm going for it. I think I have a good chance. Again, I don't know. I don't know what other people have at the end of the day. Right. I think I have a very good chance of getting it. And if I don't get it, you know, worst case scenario is all those keys that I tried to use to get it are escrow, and they come back, and now I'm just flush with keys and can do other cool stuff. You know, it's not a bad position to be in. I have no idea what the thing's going to be, though. I'm wondering, and you might have some insight or at least an opinion or some speculation of your own, if you will. Is it going to be related to the elemental invasion? Is it going to be tied into the other 4 cubies somehow? Is it going to be completely separate? Right? Because they could have gone multiple ways with that.
I think that this is going to be something completely different than the elemental invasion. Right. That's just what my original thought. I think it would be probably pretty damn cool if it was part of the elemental invasion. Right. I just don't think that's happening. And the thing that I'm very, very excited for is the passive effect, right? The legendary QB comes with a passive effect, which essentially, you know, gives you a leg up, on every other player in this game.
Yeah. So, you know, that the fact that it has a passive buff, like, so
cool,
you know, an effect, if you will, right? So this buff, as they call it, is going to add something to the player who has it, right? Yeah. What that something is, we don't know. So when you say it gives a leg up, it could, right? But then, so part of that though makes me wonder, do they give something that gives an advantage to somebody? Or is it something that gives you something that doesn't take away from anyone else? And what I mean is this. So I was thinking about it, and I'm trying to imagine what it could be, right?
Which is hard.
All these things that could benefit. You're like, okay, like increased crypto is the first one that comes to mind, right? 5% boost, like, right? So if Bitcoin's at 50K and you get 200 sats, you're getting 210 sats, right?
Yeah.
Not a ton extra, but it's cool. And it's not something that's going to cost the developers a ton because it's only one person getting it. And if it's 10 sats at a time, like what, they get 30 extra cents a day. Congratulations for spending thousands of dollars worth of keys. It'll take you 10 years to recoup your value.
Yeah.
Just with the buff, right?
Yeah.
So crypto would be cool and it wouldn't affect anybody. You wouldn't like have an advantage. You'd just be getting something extra. Because the other thing that would be the flip side of that coin is I thought like, oh, it'd be really cool if it was like plus 10% resin. So if you get a 500 bonus box, it's 550. Yeah. But then I was like, well, that translates to leaderboard points.
Yeah.
And if it's somebody who, like, to get the legendary, you obviously have to be one of the most prolific players. Then you're going to give a player who already opens more vaults than everybody. And you know what I mean? So it's like, I already have to somewhat battle with the stigma that, like, because I'm the number one guy, that there's some kind of built-in mechanisms from the game that give me an advantage.
Yeah.
So if there was an actual thing that gave a person advantage and I got it,
that'd be bad.
Smoke starts coming out of people's ears.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I have a problem with that because
Well, hold on. Don't tell me. Put it in the Discord.
Right. There's a problem with that because this legendary blueprint is going on the auction house for $2,000 to start, and none of you have that. Like there's 5 players who are going to be in this running, maybe 10. I don't want to count anybody out. There could be some dark horses, but
I think that 5 is closer to right.
There you go.
I think that 5 people can open the bid, and after 5 minutes, half of them are
yeah.
I don't have no more keys.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So I think that whoever gets this should for sure. I think it should be amazing for them. And
it should be.
And if it does give them a leg up, I think they've earned it over the past year of playing the game and accumulating keys.
Yeah, for sure. The way I look at it is that whoever gets it, I hope, because I know how disappointing it would be, right, if I were to get it, right? But again, I'm not making any assumptions. So whoever it is, hopefully it's cool. And it's like you're excited for it, not like, oh, I just spent like my whole, you know what I mean? Like all my keys for this. You know what I mean? Like I hope that it's not disappointing. And especially if I don't get it, I'll feel bad knowing somebody else got something that was like, so if it's not cool, you know what I mean? But it's got to be cool. Like
it's going to be cool.
This game is never disappointed for me.
Exactly.
Right. Like a change might be like, oh no. And it takes some time to adapt, but nothing has been like, well, that's just unacceptable. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think baseline cosmetically it's going to be so cool. It's going to like some sort of animation, like golden. I don't know what's happening.
I don't know either, man. Like it's got to be cool. The animations are awesome.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, I'm like looking at them right now.
Yeah. Well, why don't we move on to something else that only a few players can do?
Sure. So another something else that only a few players can do.
Yeah.
Welcome to the elitist blockchain gaming podcast, where only 7 people can even do what we're talking about.
Exactly. Well, it's nice. It's nice to get an insight on these things because eventually lots of people are going to be able to do this.
Yeah. But, I guess only me and Princess Hyena can say been there, done that when it comes to the vault, right?
Yeah. And you beat me to it, but talking about the purple vault.
Yeah.
Obviously you've hit a purple vault and completed a purple vault, and you're the first player to do that. So why don't you just take us through like kind of what that experience was? Because I know that, you took a trip for this. I mean, that's pretty bad. That's pretty cool, but
yeah. So I guess, all right. Noteworthy things about my purple vault experience. Okay. So for one, like people get upset opening a green vault and getting a green vault question wrong and losing $1. I'm one of those people. Yeah. And if you've ever gotten like 4 wrong in a row,
rage.
You know what I mean? Like my iPhone is dangerously close to just being thrown somewhere. Right.
Yeah.
So the first and most obvious thing is like the overwhelming magnitude of $1,000. Yay or nay? Okay, here it is. Is it something? Is it what the hell is that? Right. Yeah. So the enormity of opening a vault for $1,000 is real, right? So I'm a cool operator, right? I've done a lot of things in my life that are like kind of high stakes where you have to be focused, right? You can't be anyways. My point is that I don't sweat a lot. But when I was doing this, I was like, you know what I mean? It was like, I don't know if I've ever been that nervous in my life.
Yeah.
Because it was more than just $1,000. It was like,
it was
thing. I was trying to make this production for the community to be like, yo, that event that they did was fun, but the purple vault thing was the cherry, the icing on top, the cherry on top. Right. So it was crazy. It was nerve wracking. I was trying to make a big production. And this was like, when I just had the idea to stream, I was not, I don't even know if I can call myself a successful streamer now, but I do a lot better than I did when I started. Yep. So there was that added element of it, of trying to like make it public, and it didn't work the way I wanted. And the other interesting thing I can add is that so I'm not only the first person that opened one and completed one, but I'm the only person who's had to experience, or at least felt, what it was to lose one and to win one.
Yeah.
Because I thought I got it wrong first. And that's the video, if you go to my YouTube, that you can watch.
Yeah.
But it was wrong, and I got my key back and I did it again, and I got the second one right. So out of 3 Purple Vault questions that I've seen, I knew the answer to 2 offhand.
Yeah.
I knew 50-50 what the one was that I did get right, it turned out, but thought I got wrong. So it was like, just imagine like getting sucker punched and you get all the wind knocked out of you.
Yeah.
But it's being filmed. So you like, in that moment, I was like, oh, and like threw my phone, and that was real. That was my genuine reaction to thinking I got it wrong. And then in 1 second, I had to be like, you're filming this. The whole Coin Hunt World community deserves better. And I just like popped up, and I'm like, okay, here's what's next, guys. It was so weird. It's so cool how it all happened. So like, it's super exciting and it's dope. And I hope someone else gets to do it. And as a matter of fact, I'll use this as an opportunity. So if you didn't see my Twitch stream the other night, True Boi was in there. True Boi is another top player. I think he handed me, one of my many defeats on the global leaderboards recently, where he was first and I was below him. But anyhow, he's trying to get enough keys through the auction house selling stuff so he can craft the purple and make it to Washington to open. And so I'm like, dude, Team True Boi, man. I'm trying to support him, telling people, hey, buy those items and whatever else. I bet on one. I was outbid. I need something else to True Boi. That's a reminder. If you're watching this, send me an item. I need to buy it. Let's get you to Bellevue, open that purple vault, because it's dope. It's like a win for the community, regardless of who it is. I would have loved for somebody to be able to do it in Miami too, but the 1 or 2 people at the time who had the keys to go do it didn't make that trip. Right. I almost did until I found out that it was like $700 to get into the Bitcoin conference. I was like, maybe next year.
So obviously the Purple Vault questions are all Coin Hunt World related.
Right.
So thinking back to when you were about to open, you were about to slide this purple key into the Purple Vault, were you like more or less, I know you were nervous, but were you confident that you would know? No, not at all, huh?
Okay, so here's the thing, right? I don't know if I've ever publicly disclosed what I'm about to say. I didn't actually know. I didn't actually know that the question for sure was going to be Coin Hunt World related. Right. I had people, there was Hawaiian hunters on the beach that I was like, can you guys help me Google this? Yeah. And they're kind of like, does he know it's not going to be on Google? Yeah. And I like didn't even pick up on it until afterwards. And I was like, so when you watch it, you see me pull it up and I read it and I'm like, where was the first one answered? And I say, ooh, that's a Discord answer. Meaning it's a community-based answer. So at the time, what you also don't see is I had a 3-way call with 2 of my most trusted friends and fellow hunters on
the Bloc Boi team.
Exactly. Right. So that was my live ops team on the internet, at their computers, on the phone call, but also in the Discord so that they could talk to the community. So there's a point in that video too, where like the local Hawaiian hunters, they're yelling at me because I'm like, and they're like, it's Bellevue. And I'm like, yeah. So they hear me talking, but I'm talking to these guys. So I'm having them confirm, because like, there's always a chance that if a answer is crowdsourced, that there's some joker that's like, fart nuggets, and they're like, fart nuggets, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna lock that in. So I was like, make sure that that's right before I say it. And they were like, yeah, Bellevue. And I was like, no, I'm talking to them. So it was like kind of hectic and chaotic, but I had no idea. I wanted to have all of my resources at my disposal, right? For sure. People in the community, talking to people watching at home, people on Google, people right there at the beach, because $1,000 on the line. I had to have a lot of different, but yeah, it was I was like, I half knew, but it was kind of like the other night when I found out, like, oh no, Yellow Vault's reset on Monday. Not a week after you hit them. I'm like, I think I should have known that. Like, I'm almost certain that I read that, but whatever gets caught in the sponge gets caught in the sponge, man. You don't always get to choose.
Oh, there's so many things when it comes to this game where they're just like feeding us information, and like if you don't soak it all up, then you could say something and you're like, what is that even real? It's like that's been confirmed.
That's why sometimes I'm like, man, it's a double-edged sword, or it's a catch-22 rather, going into the Discord, because it's like you either could get pulled into something really dumb sometimes, or you can spend a lot of time reading. that shouldn't be the first thing. That's not like what the first thing that happens, right? There's always a potential that you're going to get roped into a conversation where, the aha moment never comes, right? Like there's no nugget that you get after using your brain cells. Or there's just so much information that like it's too time consuming to try to sift through it all to see if there's something that you missed. That's why your podcast is awesome, because you summarize it every month or every week, right? Very, very useful format, sir. I applaud you for that.
Trying my best.
But yeah, it's like, you can't always get it. And so like you said, sometimes you hear something, you're like, is that a thing? You're like, yeah, Illusion Weaver just said it. And you're like, what the how did I not know? I'm always the last to know.
Yeah. Yep. Well, that moves along to the next Purple Vault that's happening. Yeah. So there's a Purple Vault active and live right now as we're talking. It is actually in Bellevue.
It's in Bellevue, Washington. The location. So here's another segue back to my Purple Vault question. The first question was, where was the first vault answered? That's the reason that Illusion Weaver said it was a historically relevant place near and dear to Coin Hunt World's heart, because the third Purple Vault in Coin Hunt World history is where the first vault ever opened in Coin Hunt World history was located. That was a whole sentence.
That's good.
Yeah. So on that note, Trugoy, get it, right? Who else can get it? I mean, I guess there's a possibility I could.
Right. So that segues me. Are you gonna try to go after this? I know this is only happening right for the next 4 days or whatever it is.
Yeah. So the Purple Vault exists for the entirety of the duration of the event. So it'll be there through, what is that, the 15th at UTC midnight or whatever. So 5 p.m. Could I get it? So I'm not gonna lie. Every time there's been a Purple Vault, one of the first things that I do is I sit down and go through the logistics of whether or not that's something that I can do. Because it's always like, yeah, man, I want to go. You know what I mean? Of course I want to go do it. Like I was this close to going to Miami. And as I was researching, because that's one thing that's a little bit unfortunate sometimes with the timing of their announcements, is that we don't know what the event is or exactly the details or where something's going to be until they tell us.
Yeah.
So it's like your flights are always a little bit more. So like that actually worked in my favor with Miami, because as I was doing some of the logistical stuff and looking at flights and looking at hotels, and I'm looking at like the location of where the vault is, right? Because it's this Bitcoin conference. So the conference is at this conference hall. And I looked that up and I'm like, I don't actually know much about the Bitcoin conference. So I'm going to start reading about it. And I was like, interesting. It was supposed to be in LA. And because of the pandemic, it was moved to Miami.
Right.
Thought that was interesting. But additionally, got to the screen where it was like, I'm thinking it's something like a Comic-Con, right? Where there's a cost for entry, but it's not like exorbitant.
These are Bitcoin guys, man.
Yeah,
they got money.
It was not cheap, so I opted out of it. But the next year's Bitcoin conference, if you buy your tickets much earlier,
you can get a good deal.
Way cheaper. Yeah, so I might actually go to next year's Bitcoin conference, but we'll see. So then back to the Bellevue Vault.
Yeah.
Could I get it? I could. Have I looked? Of course, I've looked. Yeah. When would I go? I can't tell you yet. No, it would have to be towards the end. So basically, like, what it would look like after, looking at it from all the angles that I could, having concurrent goals of get the legendary blueprint and open the Purple Vault. The legendary blueprint is the higher priority goal, right?
Right.
But there are a couple scenarios that I could imagine that might allow me to do one or the other, or even potentially both. So for example, if the auction for the legendary ends at least like, 1 day prior to the end of event, you could theoretically do, a turn and burn and jump out there, get it and come back.
Yeah.
Right. But I couldn't really open it until after I knew whether, how the outcome of the legendary blueprint auction went.
Exactly.
So one scenario would be like, maybe I get it and have enough keys left to get the purple also, which I think is a very highly unlikely scenario, but it's theoretically possible.
Yep.
And then the other scenario is that, as long as, again, it all would need for the auction to end early enough to give me the time to travel, maybe I find out that I don't get it.
All right.
and then I can go out and for sure get it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, maybe it's a little contingency plan.
I like it. And it'll test your coin hunt world knowledge again.
Yeah, which man, depending on the day.
Well, hopefully they don't ask you when yellow vaults reset.
If they did, I would have gotten it wrong up until yesterday. Yeah, right.
Right on. All right. Well, so you could possibly be getting the purple vault, but legendary is taking priority. Absolutely.
Correct. Yeah.
That makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So why don't we talk about kind of like leaderboards and what it's like to like compete for leaderboards. I know from personal experience that it's not easy, and it's well, maybe it is easy for the first week, and then
right.
The grinders
first,
the grinders they tough it out, and it gets grueling at the end there. And obviously you've been number one a few times. This is for like monthly. So what are some of like the toughest months you had, and what are some of your strategies to take that first place? So
I don't look at any month as being tougher than any other, because I feel like they're all hard.
Well,
right?
I had Smooshy on, and he was saying that each month it gets harder.
I don't know. I don't know, because so here's the difference between, I don't want to phrase it that way. From my perspective, right? Mm-hmm. Having competed at a high level pretty much every month. Right? Since they came out with leaderboards, and that's another interesting thing. In the very beginning, there wasn't. And once they introduced that, it me as like a very competitive person, it piqued my interest, and I wanted to be like, well, how do I want to be on the leaderboards, right? But as a person who's competed, since the leaderboards existed, and have found myself high in the rankings almost every month, I don't necessarily think it has gotten harder every month. I think that more people are competing every month, right? So it's not like the ceiling keeps going higher. It's that, 3 people were in the musical chairs game and only 1 can sit in the chair. And then there was 5 in the game. Yeah. And now there might be 10. So it's still only 1 person's going to get it. But if you're, you know what I mean, in the top couple, it doesn't feel different because you're down to the, you know what I mean? You're in the top. So I don't know. I don't necessarily feel like it's gotten harder. I feel like, 1, people understand the strategy required and the sacrifices required to reliably contest on the global leaderboard. So if you're saving up your prints and you're saving up your resin and you're ready with a bunch of keys and you're going to double dip when you can and you're going to crush it and you're going to go out and hunt every day, that's what it takes. Yeah. But as far as like strategies, my strategy, I've always joked, is all gas, no brakes. I don't sandbag. I don't save blueprints. I literally, the minute I get enough resources to do a blueprint, I'll often deviate from my path and go to a print shop just to print it, because I want it now. Resin, I to a fault, I'm generous with my resin. And what I say, when I say to a fault, it's because, listen to this. I'm so upset. The most likely print that I could have been first to print was the Pirate Captain. Right? It ended up being Mom Loves You. Yep. Okay? I was traveling. I actually had a member of my family passed. So I was traveling for a funeral. So my focus wasn't on the game, but I had the keys to get it, could have done it. But you want to know why I couldn't print it? Because I was donating resin to dozers in the state that I was visiting. And I didn't have enough to print. And I went to the print shop and was like, oh.
Not very many days where like a top player doesn't have enough resin. That's usually the one thing you're just stocked on, right?
Well, so no, that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that I'm never stocked on resin. Wow. I have to deliberately, I can't say that. It all depends on this. If you have a place to spend it, then you don't, if you have an empty dozer on your path, if you have a crane to fill, right? Anything like that. And you have a stack of resin, then you're choosing to save it. Right. So you can do that. But me, it would be the opposite. For example, if I didn't go downtown for a few days and I hadn't seen any new dozers that I hadn't already filled, that's when I would accumulate resin.
Yes.
And every time there's a new player and they drop 4 user vaults, I'm like the Los Angeles Christmas or Santa Claus, because you might be like, hey, I wonder how long it'll take these to fill. I've only got 2,000 resin, and they plop them out and I see them and I'm just, and I'm just filling them. And then they come back the next day. Like, to me, how cool of a feeling would it be if you're a brand new player and you're stoked to go drop your user vaults and you're like, yeah, they got approved. And then you get a message that like it's operational. You're like, what the hell? And so then you go see it and they're finished. You're like, yeah. Or at least I think.
No, well, that's a good point for beginner players. Like, you should be dropping your user vaults. I think even if you, I made this mistake where I made sure I had 10,000 resin, would place a user or a flag down and then fill it myself, but
so, that's a strategy,
right?
So it's a strategy. Look, the game Illusion Weaver says it often, and I always repeat him because it really is applicable to almost everything that you come into, everything you'll encounter in this game. Decisions must be made.
There's choices.
So choices must be made. Thank you. I think that's his actual quote. I paraphrase him. Make a decision, right? So choices must be made. So do you choose to maximize from one user vault the number of leaderboard points that you will get by filling it, right? Mm-hmm. Or do you want to maximize the vault density in your area as quickly as possible? So you place it and let anybody contribute to it, and you feed it as you get resin and hope that other people do too, right? Mm-hmm. So in one scenario, your user vault will be done a lot quicker, assuming there's other people local to contribute.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side, it takes longer for you to establish it, but you have a monopoly on the leaderboard points within that vault.
Yeah. And I think new players don't really need to worry about the ladder. Right.
1,000,000%. My biggest advice to anybody is this: go hunt until you have at least 10 blues and make a green.
Yeah.
And then any blues you get beyond that one green, hunt with them. Yeah. But if all you do your first day is have one green key, perfect. When you go home, build your HQ, then go out on hunt and do that again every day until you've unlocked all of your user vaults. And as you unlock your user vaults, place them as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if they're empty, and also critical point, place them away from existing ones. So you're not killing current vaults. Yeah. Your empty dozer. Cause that happens sometimes. And you're just like, get on the Discord, you noob. Like, ask somebody.
Yeah. I think, especially if you're in a place where, there's not many user vaults, you don't want to be, sucking up the system vaults with that's just a bad move.
Right. And even if it's like the most ultimately placed one where you're like, the placement's perfect, I just want that location. Isn't, 100 meters next to that location also a dope location if that's perfect?
And not to mention, but if I see a system vault and then a user vault next to it, I'm not going to the system vault. I'm going to the user vault for sure.
Right.
So, I think that's some good alpha for beginner players. Just follow that to a T and you'll be all right. And that also goes hand in hand with, if there's players who want to make a leaderboard push, it's very doable.
Sure.
It's like you don't
anybody can do it.
Absolutely. You can make top 10.
Anybody can do it. It just, it takes planning. Mm-hmm. It takes a specific strategy, and it takes, like I said, it takes sacrificing for probably several months to accumulate the necessary stuff to make it viable. Right? Because you could use the strategy and then only wait, like if you try to do it every other month, you're not going to get high. But if you did it every third month, you're going to get even higher. If you did it twice a year and you're like, dude, I'm going to be on the leaderboards twice a year, and for 6 months you plot and you scrape and you save and whatever, you're obviously going to have a lot greater chance of finding yourself on the leaderboard than if you do it every single month. It's hard. Well, it's hard.
It's funny that you say that, because the month that I took it seriously, actually, it just kind of fell into place for me, right? I originally didn't print any of the QBs because I was so focused on getting my user vaults up.
Nice.
And so I had all my blueprints saved, and then I planned the month that I wanted to do it, and actually, like 2 or 3 days before that month started, I got a buddy quest with a referred person.
Nice.
So I was like, hold up. I was like, hold up. we're gonna do this on the first of the month. You know,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get that buddy quest leaderboard
Buddy
points. I'm gonna
Quest
get the
points,
referral leaderboard
yours
points.
for the you're
All
double
the
key.
QBs, and I was up there. I was number 1 to 3 for the first week, and that felt awesome.
Felt awesome. It was enough. So did it satisfy your leaderboard itch? Yeah.
No, it didn't, because I ended up actually in a decent spot. I ended up in 7th, which I'm okay with. I wanted top 5 originally when I was number 1, because I was like, I can do this. And then, the big dogs come out to hunt and you start, bringing your expectations down a little bit. I was like, okay, top 10 will be fine. And, I have a little bit of an advantage because, I'm interviewing top players.
Yeah, you're getting an inside track on the tips. And
I am. So I'm trying to give that to other people as well. Because I know how much it helped me. So yeah, that's just great strategies all around. And top players just drop their basic knowledge is like mind blowing to a beginner.
Dude, there's like some high level stuff too.
There is.
You know what I mean? Like,
this game's complex for how
it's very complex. That's one of the reasons that I really love it, is because it is a game where you strategize. You don't just you can play as casually as you want, right? And not really put much thought into it. And the leaderboard isn't a consideration, and you're just going for the crypto and maybe like some of the cosmetics. You enjoy getting out. Maybe you play it socially with some friends. There's a lot going on in terms of like, it can attract somebody who just plays it a little bit very casually, or somebody like me who like, I think about a lot of stuff, right? And just like a small example would be the average person who comes up to a sequence of keys and vaults probably only looks at it as a sequence, right? I look at it like 2 puzzle pieces, where if I'm going this way and I'll probably eventually come back this way, it's like 2 layers of a zipper. I want to interlace them, right? So that I can get everything in an efficient manner. I don't get anything linearly.
No.
Right. So that's something that like people are gonna be like, what? Just get what you come. You know what I mean?
I understand that though. 100%.
I'm like conscious of stuff as it comes. So I'm thinking, if I get this key, will that jam me up for that vault? Yeah. Should I wait? Should I get the vault first and then hit the key later? You know what I mean? This stuff.
And it's like, oh, that key's on the other side of the road, but that's fine. I'm coming back 3 hours later. Exactly. I know I'm going to grab that. Don't worry about that.
Because almost all of my loops have some amount of doubling back. And only when I don't double back do I take the time to make sure that I'm stopping at everything. Because, you can pass stuff like you said and come back and hit it later.
Yeah.
And that might be part of your strategy, right? You might find that if you are more selective or strategic in how you get the areas that you hunt, you might shave time off your hunt because you make it more efficient.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, that was a pretty good conversation for sure. I think we touched all the topics that are just buzzing right now.
Yeah.
I usually do a player interview or like a questions portion. So do you just want to hop into that? I'll ask you a couple questions.
Cool. I got a couple questions for you too, bud.
Perfect. I was going to ask if it was okay to open the floor for you to throw me a question. So
yeah, for sure.
All right. So the first couple questions, I usually ask everybody. So I just want to keep it consistent. So my first question is, well, I know the answer to this, but I would like other people to know the answer to this as well. Is like how do you hunt? So it's a pretty vague question, but
yeah, because I mean you could go a lot of ways with it, right? So I'll give you a couple layers of how I hunt. So how I hunt is primarily in an automobile, right? So, obviously the main thing, if you play this game while in a car, is that you have somebody that's responsibly driving so that you can focus on the game or whatever.
Yeah.
If you drive and go from A to B, then you know what I mean? The game should be played while you're stationary, right? So be sensible, be careful, be safe. Having said all that, my preferred method, because I'm covering a massive geographic area, is by car or the Bloc Mobile. If you haven't seen it, I got a great electric car, all decked out with Coin Hunt World logos and my QR referral code, right? So it's a mobile advertising platform for the Coin Hunt World game.
It's sweet.
And it's just fun, and people recognize me. And the other day I ran into another local hunter that I had the first time I saw this particular guy. He was like, I don't want to say starstruck because I'm not like a star by any means, but when he saw me, it was like one of those like, no way moments. You know what I mean? And it just felt cool. I was like, hey, and I love it too, because when people see me, they're like, oh, a lot of times they know who it is, right? Because Bloc Boi has the Blockmobile. But what I love about it is when I run into people, it's always a Coin Hunt World name introduction. So they're like Bloc Boi, they're like, I'm levitating moose or something. You know what I mean? So it's really cool.
That's really funny that you say that, because I used to be really big into competitive gaming, and that's how like all gamers do that, right? You have your tag that you go by online, and that's just your name.
That's your exactly. That's your identity.
Exactly.
People will be like, so what's your real name? And I'm like,
forget
Bloc Boi.
Yeah.
Like all you need to know me by is Bloc Boi.
Bloc Boi. That's the most important part. There
right. So I hunt by vehicle, but I also do on foot. Originally I started on foot, and you know what's funny is like a popular way to hunt has been by bike, and Smooshy is one of the famous, you know, prolific bike hunters.
Yep.
And my whole life I've always loved bikes. I've ridden bikes, you know, pretty much my entire life. So even as an adult, and that's the only way I haven't hunted yet, because I don't have a
great,
bike
man.
right now. My last bike was stolen, and I just haven't gotten a new one. But so that'll be something to come soon. So I've just recently started to introduce into my immersive hunts, the ones where I walk in a park or do something cool, or the Santa Monica Pier, which will be my next one, which is really cool if you've never been there. You know, it's famous because it's got like the Ferris wheel at the end. It's right on Ocean Drive in Santa Monica.
I actually have been there.
Cool. So you'll be like, hey, I was here, right? So it's fun for everybody, whether you've been there or not, because you're either seeing something new or it's like a throwback to when you were there. So that's the next one. But yeah, I hunt primarily by car, and I guess I don't know how I hunt. Savagely. Yeah.
Incessantly. I like that. That's the best answer I've had so far. Savagely.
Right? Savagely.
Right on. So this one's a pretty good question for you. Okay. And it has to do with the speculation bit.
Right.
A Coin Hunt World players love speculation, so let me hit you with this. What future updates are you most excited for? This doesn't have to be anything that's been confirmed, but it could also be like something that you think that is going to be added, or
Yeah. Okay. So I guess something that I'm most excited about is like the incorporation or the occasional inclusion of another coin, right? So another cryptocurrency. They did the Dogecoin, if you will. There's a big debate right now. Which
massive.
So when they did that, it was really cool. It was just cool to collect something different. They talked about how, at least while they only have Uphold as a current export partner, that it's going to be limited to coins that they carry. So, we know that they said that the Doge is going to come back, and they said they're going to work with other ones. So I'm most interested to see not only which ones are included, and hopefully sooner than later, but also how that could potentially have implications on some new mechanics in the game. For example, imagine a scenario where, like, I'm incorporating multiple things together that I've seen mentioned. So a mini game within the game, right? Yeah. So people have talked about how that would be cool. And I love games that have mini games within them. So imagine a mini game where the promotional coin is only offered through the mini game, right? Or you could even do something where you could toggle between traditional crypto mode, which is Bitcoin and Ethereum alternating like it does currently, or you're going for the altcoin.
Yeah.
Right. So some people like, just to diversify your crypto portfolio, it might be valuable to switch. Some people might be like they were with Doge. They were like, I don't want this.
Yeah.
People are so funny. And they were like, here, take $2 worth. And people were like, really? You had to give us this?
And this is a cryptocurrency. These are not worthless.
For sure.
They all have a value.
The most ironic thing, and I actually think it's kind of a little bit of it's a little bit karmic. There was a lot of people that were like, not pissed, but not stoked that they were getting, though it was $2 instead of $1 from a green vault. People were like, as soon as it was done, they're like, I immediately transferred it, sold it.
Yeah.
And then like a week later, it went gangbusters. They were giving it to us when it was like 3.5 cents, 4 cents a coin. Yeah. And it went all the way up to 70 cents.
Yeah.
So I had this chunk of Doge from the game that when it was transferred to me, the value, right, that it was worth when I got it was now like 15 times more than it was. And I didn't rub it into anybody, but I just wanted to be like, so all you guys that really hated getting this coin, like, what are you thinking now when you hurry up and got rid of your $50 and it could have been a new PS5?
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean? No, I think that's a really good idea. I mean, I think there's a lot of people who are interested in seeing like the partnerships develop, especially with different cryptocurrency teams. But I'm not sure where they are with that on the roadmap. I'm not sure if that's to come soon, because I mean, I have to assume that they're trying to get these deals, right?
You hope so, right? Yeah.
I mean, if I hope you're doing that.
Yeah, I imagine that part of it is like this. It's kind of like, I guess I think of it somewhat in terms of my approach to recruiting people. I still recruit people, but not hardcore, because the game's not in a position where my efforts are going to be maximized, right? My endeavor might not be as fruitful as I'd like, given the constraints of the game. And I think that's the same thing that they're facing when they're dealing with the idea of getting token teams to invest. Until the user base is large enough to where that is an enticing offer to these folks, it's not going to be as easy to get them on board, and you're therefore not going to want to spend as much effort trying to make that happen. Because you're not going to want to like burn a bridge or burn out a potential token team by really forcing their hand at coming on board with something that has not elevated to not only what we would hope is a guarantee, right? I can't guarantee, but I would say I guarantee you that there comes a point when this game is crazy, right? A million people using it. And obviously also what would come with that would be much larger incentive for anybody to come on board or advertise or sponsor or partner or whatever.
I think there is a limiting window though, I think, because right now it's very popular for airdrops or token incentives where they're throwing money at projects just to gain more traction, but that's not going to last forever,
right? Once
traction takes off. So I think obviously they can do business better than I can, or they know how to run their business. But
so Bill started Bittrex and
clearly knows what he's doing.
It's a very successful endeavor.
Yeah.
Right.
To say the least.
I give them a lot of faith and a lot of credit, because they're definitely doing things at a high level. And I mean, like, so when they were like, hey, we'll pay you in keys to do these various things. And I'm like, well, shoot,
right on.
One of them's promoter. Like, that's what I'm doing. You know what I mean?
I'm excited for that.
Bloc Boi, but I got like t-shirts with the game, and people are constantly like, what's Coin Hunt World? I'm telling everybody, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a walking advertisement for it pretty much anytime I'm out and about. And, I think that people are interested. People are really interested.
Yeah.
Right. And the more the game gains traction, I guarantee you these token teams are going to come.
Yeah.
They're going to.
It's only a matter of time, right?
Right. Because the difference is this, right? If you go to Coinbase, everybody knows, hey, Coinbase, well, not everybody. Coinbase, being the #1 cryptocurrency exchange platform in the United States, is somewhat well known, but only amongst people who would need to know that, right? So if you're buying and trading or selling or holding or whatever cryptocurrency, that's when an exchange becomes relevant, right?
Yeah.
You might be vaguely familiar with the idea of cryptocurrency, and you might be a little bit interested, but that's a big step to just get into it like that.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
So token teams who are like jumping on Coinbase to be like, hey, tell them about Anchor. You can earn $3, right?
Yeah, their learn function, I think.
Right, exactly. But it's only people who are already there. The game's a game changer because it's like anybody could play it, right? Everybody could play it. Not everybody's going to be in, sign up for Coinbase, sign up for Uphold type person. But you could get there through the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's a vessel, I think.
Exactly. I think yeah, for sure. The vessel.
So what sort of improvements would you say that Coin Hunt World would benefit from? Like what sort of improvements would you want to see implemented in the future?
Okay.
If any at all?
Yeah, no, there's several. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm all for improvements. And in as
Yeah.
much as like I try to advocate for the game sometimes, and people think that I'm anti any criticism, it's like I have tons of criticisms for the game. I just don't
Yeah.
feel that, I want to always air it. Like, is my opinion of something relevant to the whole community where I'm gonna, you know what I mean? Like some
Yeah.
stuff I just keep to myself because I'm like, oh, that's kind of, you know.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I do have some that I would do for sure. Like one of them would be there's got to be more stats included, right? At the
Yeah.
very least, there should be a stat page that tells me my by number and percentage vaults open by color category, right? Too easy.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
in the back end. You have the data. Give it to us. All time running list. And whether and the cool thing is that once they do that, then they could create some notional leaderboards that you can make that are not reward based, but they're just, you know what I mean? Who has highest all time percent correct in each of the categories. That would be cool. Just a feather in your cap, not something that will cost them, but something that adds to the dynamic, gameplay. So that's one. Stats. Two would be it's probably never going to happen. Two would be just to speed up the animations like a tiny bit.
Oh yeah,
because I
from a car
swear
player.
they got even slower. I swear they got even slower. I was like, I have a friend who he's like, every time we talk, he's like, do these animations. And I'm like, man, it's so you can't just get them.
Yeah,
Like, I know, but man, it's like, how long does it take a box to, you know what I mean? So, so I would speed that up a tiny bit. And then another one is something that they talked about, which probably will become a feature. It would be to make a mechanic where at the vault, I can choose to do a Twitter picture. Right.
But the
it's
option
user generated, user initiated, not something that takes any additional time, another menu you have to click on, therefore extending the whole sequence. It should be something that you can say, hey, and choose to prolong that sequence and add a picture into it. Because there's so many cool pictures that I'm just missing.
And not to mention, but they do have the weekly Twitter challenge, right? And
exactly.
For this week, it's statues. I think it's statues. So you have to.
So you have to have a vault at a statue.
Exactly, and it's got to have a Twitter box in it.
Well, and that's the other cool thing too. Is like I like the idea of allowing for the Twitter picture, right? The in-game Twitter option. Deviating from its original thing because it already has, right? So don't make it have to be right on the vault, right? Because if I have, there's a lot of cool vistas or views or plazas or whatever, if I'm at a corner and it's like it's at the Red Robin, you're like Red Robin, yum, and then 20 feet down the road is like some dope graffiti. I want to just say, ooh, I want to take a picture and then go look at this cool street mural next to the user vault at whatever. You know what I mean? Make it a little bit more lenient. Right.
All right. And I have
go ahead. You got another one? No, I want to know what you want to see, because you've talked to a large number of players and some of them are game developers. So you've probably got a lot of ideas yourself about what you'd like to see. What do you got?
Wow. I've never been super good at the speculation side of things, but what would I want? I think that starting the game, this is just off the top of my head, starting the game, playing how I played, I think is like a lot of players can resonate with my story of how it's not easy for the first couple of weeks. It's a grind.
Right.
And coming from a place where it was just me and another guy, but he only had 1 or 2 user vaults up, it was tough.
Right. And
I was extremely struggling for blue keys, and blue keys have still been a problem for me. And I think they're, I'm out of blue keys during the elemental invasion. And, and like, this is a problem. So I think a great implementation that they could come up with is, the steps for keys, or like a certain amount of tracked, like it's a geolocation game, right? And they're really advocating for health benefits to it. I think a great side of that would be rewarding players for activity. Exactly. Now, obviously that would really benefit.
I like it a lot. as an idea. I really do like it. It would just be hard, I think, to implement. And that's not saying that it shouldn't be done. I just think of it like, that's dope. But if you're not doing that locomotive motion that the phone can sense as traveling, like if you're on a bike, does it do it? If you're on a bike where it's mounted to your handlebars, is that going to track what, you know what I'm saying? So I love the idea. I'm totally into fitness. And I think that was one of the things that I thought was the coolest about this game is like, I saw a use case where you could use it as an incentive to people to exercise,
to get fit, right? Especially in a time where
get paid to get fit, go on a bike ride, make money, go on a walk, make money.
We're in a time right now where you should be being healthy. Like there's a virus out there, right? That
I don't know if there was ever a time not to be healthy, but especially,
right? Like
you have a greater incentive than ever to live an active, healthy lifestyle.
Exactly, and I think that it actually really helped me. And like, I'm gonna be honest, I'm an extremely active person. Like I play college hoops. I play.
Oh, snap!
I play.
All in.
Oh, I'm out here. Swish.
Yeah.
But I bike a lot. Like I do 30K a day. So I'm quite active, but I think that this game, especially in this time where we're all locked down and in Canada, especially Ontario, where, we haven't seen the outside in a couple months, this game really helped. And I'm glad I found it when I did.
Yeah.
Because it definitely gave me an excuse to just get out there and
start
soaking up some sun like I normally do, but I wasn't doing because of what was going on in the world.
Right. It's interesting how it had the effect of getting people out during the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
In the earliest days when there was nothing else to do, it was like, a group of us would just go out. There was nothing, you know what I mean? It's like, hey, we can hang out here and look at each other, or we can drive around and make some money while we do it. You know what I mean? We're going to be BSing and just doing whatever the whole time anyways.
Yeah.
So it was fun.
Yeah.
Go.
I do have a final question for you.
Okay.
So this one is a little bit off topic for Coin Hunt World, but definitely on brand for the Blockchain Gaming Podcast.
Okay, cool.
So I want to just know if you have played other play to earn games, or like if you're interested in other play to earn games, and which ones those would be. Yeah.
I am. So as far as playing other play to earn games, I don't really actively play any other ones. I think that this one, so I've looked into some, right? This is the best one, in my opinion. I think that magazine review was spot on when they said that this is the best one. One of the other games though that I am interested in, and I usually give like an alias for another game, but there is another one called Axie Infinity, right? Which has some interesting elements, right? So like that game isn't really my style because it's one that you would sit at the PC and play.
Yep.
But I like it because one, it's similar in some aspects to this game, right? Like they have an auction house, you can buy and sell and trade things. So anything that has an open and thriving market where you can not only earn by playing the game, but then further earn through those transactions through the auction house, that interests me tremendously in this game specifically, because the volume that we're talking about now, this is a game that has a full, robust global platform, right? And almost to the detriment of what they're doing, because it's growing so quickly due to its popularity that they're just like Coin Hunt World did, they're crushing their own servers. But the main difference for this one for me is that the barrier to entry is substantial, right? Whereas the barrier to entry for Coin Hunt World is non-existent, right? All you need is a phone and you can play.
And it doesn't even have to be a good phone.
You have to have, exactly. It's got to be a decent phone. You got to have enough crypto to buy a team, because you need a team of 3 of these things to battle. But it's cool because there's so much stuff and you can like breed them and sell them. And like, so it's interesting to me. It's also hard for me though, as I've done my due diligence in regards to that game, it's hard for me to think that like some of my hard-earned crypto, you know what I mean, I'm going to throw it into this instead of leaving, you know what I mean? It's like, I think I'm still going to do it though. I just want to play it.
It's an investment.
Yeah, I just want to get them and like be like, well, maybe if I'm sitting and I'm bored of editing and I'm sitting at my computer, jump on and do some stuff with that one. Who knows? Like this game to me is still way more fun, and I wouldn't want to get super into a game that locked me in front of, even though technically this game kind of did that by what I'm doing. But like, I wouldn't want a game that just sits me down and like now I become one of those, people that like there's 30 empty soda bottles around. You're like, only playing the game.
That's funny.
What about you though? Do you play any other play to earn?
So I have looked at Axie. I know quite a bit about what they're doing over there. I'm like you. I can't get over the fact that especially in the bull run, they're $1,000 a piece. So I can't get over that right now. Yeah. I know there's some good like programs within that game where you can actually like rent Axies, which is very, very, very interesting. Right. But I have played another game called Gods Unchained, which it's like a card battler, which is kind of my style. I've played those games before in the past, and that one's on Immutable X, which is
I've heard of this one.
It's on Ethereum, and I don't really think their marketplace is all there yet.
Right.
But I'm definitely like still holding my eye on that one because I think that one has some good potential. I think Axie has some great, that one's already blown up.
Yeah. Their marketplace has already transacted like billions of dollars of Ethereum.
Exactly.
Billions.
I know it's pretty nuts. So, and this actually I have a follow-up question that pertains right to it is where do you see play to earn games in the future? Is there a spot for these games?
Absolutely. I think it's obvious that there's room for them, right? Mm-hmm. And I think their popularity is going to go crazy because, I've mentioned this before. All games that I've ever played have always cost me both my time and my money.
Yeah.
I love the idea of only having to give my time. And I love it even more if all I give is my time and they give me money.
Yeah.
Right? So so some games you can play for free and they don't require a monthly subscription or whatever, and some of them do. And then so it's weird, like you have this full spectrum. Obviously I look at things as being like, when it comes to entertainment or hobbies or things that you willingly do, often there comes with a cost, right? Yeah. So you spend your free time doing what you want. Maybe you go hiking and it's free, but a lot of the time you're spending your money to enjoy your time recreationally.
Yeah.
So the idea that you can do something that's enjoyable, right, and spend some of your recreational time to earn is really cool because, like, it's almost like a side hustle.
For sure. And not to mention in developing countries, it's a job and a lucrative job.
Well, so it's funny because the Axie game, like there are people from some of these, more impoverished areas that like they're turning to that as an option for income. Because you can make more money than working a traditional job. Yeah. So that's just crazy and shows you how broken our financial system is. But all the more reason to start adopting Bitcoin because, like, spoiler alert, you can't print money forever.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, you guys know inflation. We've seen this pan out. Like, there are precautionary tales. All you have to do is look at history. So the idea of something that accounts for that and is intentionally designed to not inflate and to keep its value, it's like, entire papers have been written on it and people are like, what, huh?
Yeah.
We don't know how to do this any other way. It's like, this is the future.
I'm pumped to explore it some more, but I think that's going to wrap it up. I think we've done an hour 40. So that's pretty good chat there. We talked all about the elemental invasion, all about, your strategies, the legendary, the purple vaults. I think we talked about all the very interesting topics that we had. That being said, for people who are tuned into the live stream right now, stay around because we're going to have a live Q&A. I don't know how long that's going to last, but we'll entertain.
Yeah, we'll play it by ear, see what kind of questions we have to field, but it'll be fun.
Exactly.
This has been great too. I don't know if you usually give your guests an opportunity to have like a, hey, thanks for having me on type of thing, but
for sure.
When I first saw your announcement, like, hey, I'm this guy, right?
Yeah.
And you kind of talked about what you wanted to do. And I was like, that's really cool. I actually, in my mind, was hoping that somebody would kind of, that's one of the neat things about these games is there's room for other streamers. There's room for other podcasts. Absolutely. There's room for like whatever somebody wants to create. If you want to make merch, Like there is room for that. Like do it. So in my mind, I was like, I hope somebody has a, like a podcast so that they can do player interviews and stuff like that. I love it. But anyways, I just want to say thank you for having me on, and also for, basically like collaborating with me enough to where we could figure out a cool time and format to do it. Right. So this is new for your show. This is the first time that I'm doing one-on-one interaction or hosting anything else. So I think we came up with a cool mashup, and I wish you nothing but the best in all of your future casts. And maybe, we do a version 2 at some point in the future.
100%. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Peace.
See ya. What's up, everybody? Hopefully the interview was enjoyable to watch. We know it ran long. And now on to the live portion of the show.
What's going on, guys? That was a lot of fun, wasn't it?
Right? Thanks, Cuckoo Puffs. Yeah, it was tons of fun. It was a lot of fun. A lot of behind the scenes work, but I think in the end it was all worth it, eh?
Yeah, totally. I love just like meeting new people in the Coin Hunt World community, especially now that we're doing like a video format. Like, I'm super excited to like see people.
Yeah. It brings another dynamic to the idea of interacting with the community.
Yeah. Wow, and a lot of you out here right now. Marlo,
for sure.
Rainstorm, Katie's gym class.
Yeah, thank you for the compliments. Very much appreciated. And thanks everybody for being here.
Yeah, so I think this was going to be sort of like a live Q&A. I don't know if there's any questions in the chat, then we can answer them. But we stuck through that podcast with you guys too. So, oh yeah, I saw this Rainstorm saying he's super excited to get his stream out there.
Oh, cool, awesome. What do you stream under? What's the stream name? I'll check it out.
I think he went live today.
Oh, cool.
And
is it in the Discord then? Because I honestly was not in the Discord like all day.
It was. Yeah. It was in the Discord.
Awesome. I'll check it out.
What are you guys doing for the elemental invasion? So I know we were having that super in-depth chat there.
Right. Yeah, the elemental invasion has definitely been fun to not only play but speculate about. What I would like to see, if we might be so fortunate, is for maybe Illusion Weaver to give us just a little hint about something that maybe we don't have fully grasped yet, or just give us one of those classic nuggets that then we get ravenous about and chew on for the next 24 hours.
Wow, that would be nuts. Or like give us the deets on how the mechanics work.
Yeah, right.
And, Beat said my headphones make me look my headphones make me look like I'm a saint in a Renaissance painting.
Yo, they do. Oh, that's so funny.
That's funny. I'm gonna quickly get back to Marlov's question, but Rudy said, "What position do I play?" I play shooting guard. So me and Bloc Boi were having a big basketball conversation. But he's quite the basketball fan, quite the basketball player too, if you guys didn't know. So Marlov saying, did we talk about the new structures coming up? He missed the beginning. So first of all, this is going to be live on the Blockchain Gaming YouTube plug.
Boom.
But we did not talk about that. Do you have any thoughts on those upcoming
new structures, like the red structures that were alluded to?
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't. It could be anything, right?
And it could be far out, or it could be like next week.
Yeah, you know how it is. They love to just drop little things, and some of them come soon, some of them not at all, some of them are for the future, and we just salivate over all of it. I don't know. I don't know.
Speculate.
Speculation. The red structures, I think, are going to be, obviously tied to maybe red vaults, and maybe once you can complete these red structures, then you can construct a red vault, something like that. It's going to be a mechanic that I believe is going to be really challenging to do, and what we're seeing as far as the collaborative and coordination aspects of this new mechanic that we're playing right now during the elemental invasion, I think that's like a intermediate step to get to something that's even more hard, something that's even more challenging to complete and requires additional coordination and resources and etc. I think it's going to be an evolution of stuff that we're seeing right now tied to how a community might be able to create their own red vault. There's my speculation.
Well, actually, okay. Let me just.
Whoa. Cuckoo Puffs just said red structures will blow your pants off.
Yeah.
And that to me, that says a lot. So yeah, get some more of those.
At the end, it will be a red seesaw. What new trivia category are you looking forward to most?
At the end, it'll be a red seesaw. That's good.
That's a good question from Renee.
Yeah, so go. What do you think?
For me, it's definitely going to be, so originally I was going to say mythology, but now I'm super pumped. There was the red question that was solved in Philly had a coin hunt world category. Was that true? Am I being left out of this, or was that
so I saw that. I think Kevo Strings did a meme, something like that. But I think
I saw the actual.
I think there was. I think there was in the red vault, which we haven't had ours active yet, so I don't know. But I did see that in a screenshot. Also,
that would be probably my go-to category because I feel like I know a ton about it, but I also would click on the category and go, what the.
I think I'd be pretty good at it too. It makes you wonder though, because Purple Vaults have exclusively Coin Hunt World related trivia. So how are they going to delineate what's a Purple Vault level worthy question versus a whole category that you might hit, maybe there's not a ton of questions in it yet, but I love that idea. So for me, my favorite one probably I think might be cryptocurrency, because I'm just curious what they've included, right? I only can imagine that I'm going to expand my knowledge of cryptocurrency through the trivia that they provide, right?
Yeah. So Marlov says, I hope they do something similar like Monolith, just bigger. Oh, Rudy has a good question here. If you had to pick a new crypto from Uphold for us to receive, what would you guys pick?
For us?
Or just like players, I think.
Oh, right.
If you had to pick
just in general.
So like a crypto that you wanted added to the game. You were talking about that in the podcast.
Yeah.
You were excited to see new altcoins come in, which I think he's asking for some specifics there. If you have some specifics.
Oh, I mean like.
Show your bag. What are you holding?
I mean, I don't know. I'd be open to a lot of stuff, like I was saying, in the theoretical sense of just adding some other altcoins in and like having an option of, a mini game or whatever else, however you did it, people would be totally into it. So like, I mean, I'm into tons of coins. Like I would actually be interested in something that I don't have.
Yeah.
Right. So I have a good amount of coins, but like others, it's like new stuff that I just, you know what I mean? Like I would want all like new stuff that I don't even have. I don't even know about. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I like collecting coins too.
Right. So there's stuff that I have that I would be like, it'd be cool to have, more Ripple or more whatever. But I think it's just, they need to do that.
You want all the coins.
Yeah. They need to just like,
We want every coin off of Uphold. I wouldn't mind seeing some DeFi tokens, but
sure.
Obviously, that'd be a massive partnership deal, but
yeah, I mean, and that's the other thing too, is like I think I made the point in the interview that it's got to scale to a certain point before you see the tokens. But yeah, to answer, I gave another non-answer. So a coin, I don't know, ADA. There, that's a good one, right?
Okay. Yep.
It's been moving.
Cardano.
Throw some Cardano in there, and I think a lot of people would be like, yeah, I've been wanting to get this, but it's been on the rise, and sometimes that scares you off of something.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think I'm not a big Cardano fan, but if it was implemented into this game, I'd hold it.
That's what I'm saying. I want it to expand my holdings, not reinforce the views I already have on the cryptos that I like.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But that's also exactly what it's doing with Bitcoin and Ethereum, because clearly the two biggest market share, currencies are going to be popular. But I like it all.
Yeah. Cuckoo Puffs. Here's what you need to know about red structures. It will be a city build It will require red keys to use, but it won't be a traditional vault. Oh.
Wait, what? Where is that? I'm looking for it.
That's right under Rudy's comment about the picking a new crypto. He says, "Here's what you need to know about red structures. It will be a city build.
I see it. I found it.
It will require red keys to use, and it won't be a traditional vault."
Cool. City build, red keys to use, but it won't. That's it's exciting. I don't know.
Start stacking your red keys, guys.
Yeah, I got a little bit of a stack.
Yeah. Yeah.
What? So Illusion Weaver said that was a bug fixed today. I didn't even know that there was a bug.
I forgot what we were talking about.
Oh, how did I get a fire monolith? How do I get exactly? That's the question of the day.
Do that? Yeah.
Question of the day. Rainstorm said, "I like the category option. Wish it was available for bonus on Random Blue Vault. The Coin Hunt World category, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
How would you say you get a fire monolith? Because that's all speculation right now, right?
I don't know. Here's how: just go up to Canada.
Yeah.
They're popping off
Vancouver.
left and right.
Yeah.
They're popping off left and right. I don't know. I haven't seen one yet.
Nothing near me. You won't find any near me.
Right? How do you guys like Hunter mode? I like it.
I mean, I don't know why.
I wish it was a little bit harder.
I will never go to. Don't say that. I will never go to regular mode.
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
I'll tell you what though, it has some weird. There's some good and some bad with it. We'll have that conversation later. I don't want to bore people.
Yeah, I'm big on the hunter mode. I obviously I'm perfect or not getting it right.
Yeah.
That's it. Really.
Basically, exactly. That's one of the side effects, right? Is you're like, if nothing else, I'm fast.
Yeah. 25%.
Any progress on the Heartbreaker hammer?
Oh, that was a good question, but
I know, but it's like, of course they're not gonna do that.
Yeah, come on. You gotta go out there and get the crystals. That's
right.
It's all fitting together, right?
It's all by design, man, and everything. That's what is awesome about the auction house is everything is gonna cross level into something eventually.
Yeah.
So you know the number of stuff that they release into the wild is a known quantity, and if we had something that deconstructed or converted pieces, it would change the whole design of what's released.
Totally.
You know what I mean? So eventually all of the materials are going to be sold to people who craft them, usually into something. So imagine a point when a previous event, there's no more craftable items from it. They would be able to tell based on what's out there.
Right.
All available. So even the blueprints at that point would be just kind of for nostalgia. You can't even use them anymore. But they did actually mention, Illusion Weaver said something about generating resources from past events. So maybe that could be completely changed. You know what I mean? But anyways,
yeah.
Heartbreaker
really
pushes me to
read
read faster. Yeah, it does, and answer quicker.
Remember the tough. Oh, Katie's gym class says hunter mode challenges me to quickly remember those tough questions I've had before. So I don't know if you've watched the last podcast I did, but I talked to the creator of coinhuntworldtrivia.com, and that's the actual website that gives you flashcards for different vaults to
nice.
give you questions. Honestly, I was doing that 10 minutes a day quickly, and I have for sure answered at least 10 questions I would have never known since the start of Elemental Invasion. That website absolutely works, and
completely forgot about that.
What's that?
I don't let me interrupt you. You were talking about the website.
No, yeah, the website, it has been a massive help, especially with green vaults. But it also lets me know, I know all the answers to the purple vaults, obviously.
No, it's a useful tool, right?
Yeah, for sure, absolutely, and I can vouch that it works.
No, I just had forgotten. Remember, we were going to do the whole thing with these.
What's that? Oh, yeah, these.
So hey guys, there's the Air Elemental QB and its resource requirements.
Yes.
One of the 4 exclusive blueprints dropped during the anniversary event, the Elemental, the uneventful invasion. No, Kidding, obviously. The elemental invasion.
Very eventful.
Very eventful.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get a fire heart, hopefully. So there's the air one. And then we've got Mr. Water. And I didn't mean to be so rude to him earlier. He is awfully cool. He's just not, he's my least favorite. There's got to be a ranking. Everybody's gonna have a least favorite and a most favorite.
Yeah. And I bet you this is somebody else's favorite.
Yeah, for sure.
I know it is.
Yeah, right. And then what else do we got? This little earthy guy over here.
Yeah, which is, I really like this one. This one's really cool, especially with the animation. I think the animation is very dope on
Makes
the,
it, yeah.
on the Earth QB.
I like how the animation adds another element to it that can kind of like make or break some of the QBs.
Yeah,
right.
totally.
Like sometimes it makes it really cool, and sometimes it's like, oh, that was just kind of meh. So the whole QB is like, because the animation is like anchors it somehow.
Yeah.
And then
you just want to throw up the last fire one there.
I mean, does he exist?
I don't think so. It's a whole big troll. It's a big troll.
Right.
Yes, they threw it in there. Nobody can actually get 3,000 crystals.
You get to 2,999, and then you have to re-download Coin Hunt World.
You're kicked out of the test flight. All right. Agreed. Diverse crypto bag is the best. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's how we get news here. Just got to
poke them enough with questions. I just saw it too. Beats. Maybe a city version of a floating vault, right?
Dude.
That'd be cool.
That'd be nuts. That'd be nuts.
Right? What would it be though? Because like if there was that many of them where it was city based, you know, would it be like a green key and you get a couple green keys or something? Because it couldn't, you know what I mean? Like you couldn't do a floating red vault that was in every city. That's in, you know what I'm saying?
That'd be crazy.
The payout would be, I mean, it would be dope. Don't get me wrong. Maybe
I love that.
Maybe Uncle Bezos will throw us some, you know what I mean? Throw some crumbs. He accidentally drops a few, and you're just like, "Oh, this is more than we needed, sir."
That's good. That's good. What does he say? I love repeat questions, but some categories are not really my forte.
Yeah.
What would you two think of a remix button that could be used once a day?
Oh, man.
Mix up the categories. Oh, that would be clutch.
A remix button would be pretty dope. What if it was like once a day is not enough? You know what I mean?
You know, yeah.
You can make it like cost, like you get one blue key is 3 remixes.
Or you could just make it one blue key. Technically.
Yeah, but then you could just like let it go or get it wrong or guess.
That's time. But that's time.
Yeah, but if you guessed, it's immediately over or you're right.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
So you would just guess, right? Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So you got to have it be like, you know, something better. Yeah, one blue key for 3 remix. I like it. That like gives a cat reshuffle. Air QB. Celebs get married way too often for me to remember who's doing what this year.
Yeah, totally.
It depends on where you're at too, you know, like being out here and, you know, and kind of like the mecca of the entertainment industry.
You're immersed.
You're immersed in like, right. So like movies and all that, some of those categories, I'm like, dude, I know all these.
I know the Justin Bieber question.
I know all the Justin Bieber questions.
Yeah. If you get a fire heart, you're gonna put it in the auction house.
Oh wow, yeah. Some people already have, I think.
I wouldn't do that. I'd keep mine. I'd keep mine for at least a while. I would. I think I have a speculation theory that these hearts are gonna be worth a lot of keys.
I got confused by something. Yeah, no, like if they're not coming back and these are unique, I mean, they're always like lots of stuff is valuable. You know, I remember what was it that somebody was? I think it was Vivek, right? Was talking about buying a turkey, right? And I was like, that's, you know, it's wild.
I think he sold it. He sold his turkey.
He sold his turkey before he knew it was rare, and then he sold it for cheap and got totally upset. And then went on like a turkey hunting spree. I think he ended up getting a new one, but having to pay way more. But I'm not sure.
Got it back.
So, Cuckoo Puffs LOL'd. New update will come through that resets all resources. Wait, what?
No.
Oh, so that's what I saw earlier where I was like, what? And then, but it was Rainstorm said it. I got confused and thought Cuckoo Puff said that earlier. So my chat's off. I'm probably way behind.
Cuckoo Puff says at least people seem to have figured out how to get the fire hearts. So
Did they? Does anybody want to talk about that?
I mean, it's got to be just hitting green vaults, right? It's just hitting the sheer amount of green vaults, or like
I think it's
yellow vaults, right?
Like we had talked about, right? It's got to be some type of frequency, and it might be weighted differently based on rural versus city. Who knows? But obviously, if group hunting affects it in any way, then it would make sense that it's a repeat. Like it has to, this vault must be triggered X amount of times.
I think
for something.
I think group hunting helps it only because
there's multiple people. It's being hit multiple times, right? Yeah.
Right, but not necessarily because the vault's getting hit, but because when you spawn the monolith, everybody can see it. So like it does, like only one person has to spawn it, you know?
Right.
So
so you're saying that that's one of the benefits of hunting as a group.
I think that's the reason why you would go in a group for sure.
Well, right, but I guess what I'm getting at is that you're not saying that physically being together changes anything in how it spawns. So. Right. It just benefits you because more people see it. So that's another thing I thought too. So for example, you know, if hitting a green vault or above spawns a higher tier thing like a fire heart, it also would be a good strategy or an advantage to people to hunt in groups and then only hit those green vaults, right? So that you're not accidentally triggering a blue and then you're out of the game for an hour in terms of triggering something higher.
You just lost a soldier when you spawn a monolith, right?
Right.
If you're now down to a group of 9.
Exactly. Yeah. So places like LACMA that has a yellow and 2 greens and like a half dozen or a dozen regular user vaults, if you get a group of people there, hit the yellow first, trying to spawn the highest possible ones, then you hit the greens. And then after everybody's tried to spawn on those higher ones, then you go on to the blue and maybe spawn some air in some of the other ones.
And you still won't see a fire monolith.
And yeah, and it won't matter because I still don't have the blueprint.
Exactly. Okay. Well, in Cali, they probably your neighbor. I forget what we were talking about at that point.
Right.
I never knew how good I was at guessing until this event. I gotta be like 75% correct. That's funny. I think we're both at the point where, you know, we're getting these questions right.
Right, yeah.
I think he looks stressful to me. Fire is cool, but I would rather focus on the other 3. I think he's talking about the water cube. He looks stressful. Or maybe it's the fire is stressful. Hey, IT guy, if you need fire hearts, join my Hamilton/Burlington group. We all got a fire heart today and tons of other hearts. So
is that near you?
I am in that group, actually. But
get on that, bro.
I couldn't go tonight for, you know, a week.
Oh, because we were doing this? Well, now you know, dude.
I should have went.
Now you know.
I think I'll have enough time to hopefully get up.
So hold on, let me jump over here. So Illusion Weaver said fire monolith can only spawn from green vaults and higher, right? So we basically assumed that. But the weird thing, and this is like, maybe you guys can jump in, this is what's been so confusing, at least for me, is it seems like as the event progressed, and then when we got the message that, like, you know, it's gaining strength or whatever that message was, it would have suggested that something changed at that point, but people were already getting like fire monoliths before that. So I'm just curious what they were doing differently.
They were hitting green vaults.
Well, I mean, so like, does that mean that people weren't hitting green vaults in LA? Because I'm hitting them all. You know what I mean? I don't know what other people are always doing, but
I don't know what to tell you, man. You're just unlucky,
right? Like, I haven't seen or heard of anybody in LA getting a fire vault or a fire heart.
They're rare.
Indeed.
I have a feeling you'll get them though.
Yeah.
Get them one day, and you'll probably get more than one in one day. It'll be like, I had.
All right, hold on. They're spilling more. You know.
Oh no.
Okay. You gotta carefully just peel away a little bit, and sometimes they're like, okay, fine, stop. Yeah. Firemon. Okay. Cuckoo Puff said, boom. Illusion Weaver just dropped it. He's like, is this clear enough for you? I mean, we kind of knew that, but so the higher the tier, the stronger the invasion gets, the higher the chance. So when we're busting up on this yellow vault, and 5 of us hit it in a row and nothing happened, like, how is that not doing something?
You had to wait for the message to get stronger. That's why.
But the message,
every time it gets stronger.
Yeah, but before that message happened, Canadians were like, "Look at my fire heart."
Yep,
So
they
what
certainly were.
what was going on? They got the message a day earlier. They're like different time zone,
You just got robbed.
right? Piragovsky, what up, bro? Illusion Weaver, is the strength of the invasion tied to the number of printed elementals? Yes. Oh, so print your stuff, people.
Yeah, I thought so too. So I think this was hinted at in the Discord a while ago.
Oh, see, I missed that.
Yeah, so the actual number of printed elementals.
So they were hitting
is what-
green and higher. Well, clearly he just said that, but we have green and higher in LA, and we're hitting that too, is what I'm saying. Okay. But I understand. I'm picking up what they're putting down. I'm just not having a theoretical understanding of how this mechanic worked, and then seeing it work was two different things. But it's good to have it verified.
Google Post goes, if 5 of you hit the yellow ball and didn't get the monolith, that's bad RNG. Then he goes, pro tip, we hate the Lakers. Go Raps, baby.
Okay.
Raps.
Okay.
I think we need to do it.
No, they're the Supersonics. The Supersonics up there, right? Once upon a time, Seattle. Did he?
I think we need to do one of those. I don't know if you're in on the football fantasy.
Yeah.
That thing. I think we need to do one of those.
Did the first round already happen?
Season. So it did. I'm lost when it comes to football, but I joined.
Yeah.
So
How do you check
I didn't
it?
get the first one. We don't have the Sonics.
I know you used to. Sean Kemp, baby, back in the day, man.
Kevin Durant, hello.
What do you mean? What?
He played for the Sonics, didn't he?
No.
No, really?
No.
Yeah, he did.
Did he?
Yeah, man.
Did he?
Yeah, his rookie year, he played on the Sonics. Come
No.
on, you scared me there. I was like, what?
Yeah, you're probably right, actually. Hold on. How do you check the football thing? Does anybody know?
Find the link somewhere.
So yeah, 5 of us hit the yell, and it was just bad. It was just bummer juju. IT guy, I'm ordering pizza. Do you want anything?
I would love some chicken nuggets. That would
Yo,
be my girlfriend.
that's
in the chat
fire.
there.
That's fire. I want somebody to come in and be like, "Yo, Block, you need anything?"
Yeah, no, that's my girlfriend. She's sitting beside me.
My friend's over at Storm, the sponsor with the Blazers. I'm going to check them out opening night. Oh, dude, when's that? Yeah, man, I can't wait to go to some games, dude. I'm so glad that they're...
And the Raptors just got
Chicken nuggets aren't pizza.
I know. I don't like pizza though. Pizza is like, I mean, wait, is it only a Canadian thing? Is pizza only a Canadian thing? I think it is. It's god awful. It's just like really bad pizza. So the chicken nuggets are good.
There you go.
Yeah.
The man knows what he wants.
Buffalo blue cheese.
So yeah, we got to hit the yellow vault again, like gangbusters, and maybe get a couple hearts out of it. But
And I gotta do that Burlington Hamilton run because
apparently they're cranking stuff out, right?
well the one person in my area was showing me like
Little
the amount of hearts he's gotten. I'm like, oh my god. Like,
Yeah, some people have been sharing their little screenshots on the Discord
making me jealous.
and I'm just like, what am I doing? What am I doing? It's just the funny thing though is like I'm getting a ton of the crystals, but
Yeah.
I'm not getting a ton of the hearts because apparently people aren't doing the mechanic right. You know what I mean? People in LA are just like too independent of one another or aren't telling people, right? They're not monopolizing on that group hunt mentality where you see it, right? You see it because somebody gets the notification. If you're not looking right at it or come right across it, you don't just stumble upon them really. I stumbled upon one, but obviously if you're hunting, even if just the two of us were hunting together, you're going to see all of mine and I'm going to see all of yours. So we theoretically are going to get twice as many that day.
Double, yeah.
But
and I think Marlov has been doing a excellent job. He's like coordinating. He's like made a bunch of group chats. There's like 10 to 20 people all in the Hamilton region, and a few of them are going like, oh, Cuckoo Puffs in the chat. Sorry, this is a better train of thought. We have another secret to share about the monoliths.
where? Yes. Do it here. Let me share it.
Drop it live.
Text it to me so I can say it.
Hello. Drop it live. Text it to me.
Well, so you might not have seen, but once in a while, I'll get a Discord message with something to disclose during the show. That's why I'm like, no, I want to do it. No, so obviously, you guys do it however you want. You don't have to send me anything.
Well, this is definitely he's going to drop it in your chat, or maybe he will send it to you.
I'm looking just in case. I got my Discord chat up at the ready. What is it? Secret, another secret. I like this. I get way too excited about when this game discloses new stuff.
You know what I've found that's common across all Coin Hunt World players? We all could talk for hours and hours about, what has happened in the past hour within our game. And we could,
right?
Everybody, like, there's non-stop content when it comes to Coin Hunt World. No, we didn't.
Okay. Rudy's like, please tell me it's a hammer or a heart hammer. It is not a heart hammer. Okay, so here's the word, guys.
This is the alpha.
This is it. Now that the invasion has grown stronger, Yellow Vaults 100% spawn monoliths. 100%.
Oh, wow.
So you're guaranteed to get a monolith by answering a Yellow Vault.
Wow, okay, but so that's not necessarily a fire monolith though, right?
That was not specifically stated, so I imagine it's just a monolith is guaranteed, right?
Yeah.
So,
very good. That's
right.
It's gonna be any monolith. It's probably not gonna be just the fire monolith.
So Marloff was like, anyone or just fire? So I bet you it's just they're guaranteed to do it. So if you do it with the group, somebody's gonna have a fire, hopefully, right?
I think it's fair to assume then that so red and purple too, but that makes sense. But I think it's fair to assume that as the elemental invasion grows even stronger, that will be the case for green vaults as well. That's speculation on my end, but
just now that was just you.
That's just me off the top.
So
as it grows even more stronger throughout the next, we're halfway through. Green vaults will have the 100% chance to spawn a monolith.
Maybe. Or maybe it's like they're more likely to spawn a better monolith. Right? Like slightly favorable odds to get a more rare one right at the tail end.
That would be much better.
Right? It could be anything. But no, your ideas, I like it. For green vaults too. That would be insane because like around here I could get a ton. But it's a matter of 1 per hour though.
Yeah, so are you planning another trip to the Yellow Vault then? You're going to have to take the group again.
Oh, actually, so I'm glad you brought that up. So 2 quick things. So for any LA hunters that happen to see this. So on Sunday, there's going to be a group going to LACMA to hit the Yellow Vault. Now, for some of us that went on the trip Monday, we're not going to see our vault again until Monday because that's when they respawn. Thanks, Illusion Weaver. And so for those of us who already went, we have the chance to go piggyback off of other hunters hitting the yellow and the greens that are there as well. So we're going to do that Sunday, and then we're going to turn around and do it again on Monday when it resets for everybody else. And then anybody who we piggybacked off of can come and piggyback off of ours the following day.
Yeah.
So 2 days back to back of just gangbusters on the Yellow Vaults.
Awesome. Cuckoo Puffs with some more. He says, won't say what the actual percentages of each are. So that means whenever you hit a vault, you have a percentage to hit an air, a percentage to hit a green. So I imagine if it's anything like the drop rate of the crystals, I'm assuming it's the same drop rate and spawn rate.
Could be.
That's probably how they've done it.
So I would have to disagree just because I've seen people that have like 5 fire hearts.
Mm-hmm.
And if the drop rate was the same, then your fire hearts and your fire crystals would somehow be, I think, like connected. And I saw
the problem is that the monoliths can spawn from other players as well, right? So getting your crystals is just you. But the monoliths is all team.
I guess that's true. If you were hunting all the time with a team, for sure. But Yeah, no, it's all speculation. So it's like,
I'm glad we got all this knowledge, halfway through,
Yeah.
so we can actually do something about it too.
yeah, he said go ahead and add it to the wiki. So that's fact.
Oh yeah, nice. That is
Cuckoo dropped some good knowledge on the monoliths. Heck yeah. And then Pirogovsky, let's do it. Yeah. So somebody made a post. Who was it? It's like Rock Hard Value or something like that is the screen name in the community Discord in California, I think, or LA. Oh no. Yo,
You just went dark.
lights out, bro. Well, that's that.
That's it. That's the curtain call. Well, we could wrap it up. I think.
Yeah, it was a long day. I'll lean in so you can still see me a tiny bit.
Guys in the chat, we have been at this for quite a while today.
Yeah.
So it has definitely been a long day. We probably do want to wind down Friday night.
Right. So Rainstorm said my stage hooked me. Yeah, like you really did. It pulled me right off. But so right, what you were just saying, we got some serious nuggets, right? Learned some stuff from the developers. That's awesome. We kind of set a new direction for where your podcast is headed, which is exciting. And I think we're all gonna be anxious to see the evolution of your your podcast on video. I don't know, is it still just called a podcast at that point?
Yeah. Totally.
Right.
Yeah.
But to be able to watch it creates a whole new element, and it's dope. So I wanted to tell you again, thank you for coming on to my show and allowing me to host your show.
Yeah.
And I think it was a lot of fun, and we both, learned some stuff.
Dude, it was a lot of fun, and I've learned a lot of things that I would have not known from our, off-camera conversations, which I think are very important.
Right.
And, I don't know what else to say. You're a great ambassador to the coin hunt world community. I think that's exactly what you are. So
thank you, sir.
Yeah, and this was a lot of fun. And obviously, I think I see this happening again in the future. Without a doubt, right?
Totally, for sure. We're gonna do another version 2. You know what I mean? At some point, and maybe even some other type of collaboration as you get your video feet wet. You know what I mean? There's always opportunities for creators to to collaborate and just do group stuff together. So it was great, man. And then everybody who followed along today, thank you so much. I think it was a really long thing to sit through. So if you're still here and you had a good time, we both thank you very much for your participation and hope to see you again next time. And keep stacking sats. And until next time, Bloc Boi and IT Guy out.